welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. We've got the regular nutcases on tonight. Good evening, Mother. Good evening, Dad. And good evening, Grandpa Stan. How are we?
Good evening.
Otherwise known as... What are you otherwise known as?
Who are you talking about?
As always, good evening to everybody in the chat. Good to see you all. Listen, go on. I feel argumentative tonight.
Why
is that different from any other night we're on here?
Yeah.
It's not really, though, is it?
Can you move yourself, actually? You're too close to me. Get away from me.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
What are you on about?
Change the lineup.
Are you on
Put
drugs?
yourself over in the corner.
I don't mind being next to Stan.
Jesus, you're still next to me now. You're the other side now.
Anyway, is that better?
That's better. Right, like
Right.
Anne-Marie beside me, but the normal setup. You're messing with my OCD now.
I'm not saying what Anne-Marie's been messing with, because I don't know.
It's like universal challenge, this.
Yeah, it is, mate. Right, Anne-Marie, you said we've basically an opportunity this weekend. Why? Go on, I'll let you kick off.
Because I don't think, however long we played yesterday, I don't think we'd ever have scored. And that's not good. We change the team that's been winning. You know, O'Reilly left back, Nunes right back, Marmousse.
Oh.
Marmousse. But, you know, we changed the winning team.
All right.
And look what happens. And just because Haaland's fit doesn't mean he gets an automatic start.
Right. Let me take you to the cleaners here. Is this the same Nunes that nobody wants near our club? That people
I've
was
never
moaning
said
at-
that.
No, I'm
I've
not.
never said that,
Not
Andy.
you, mother. Not you, mother. I know you've got a thing for right backs and that, but not this time. Right? No, but do you know what I mean? So, like, all I seen on social media yesterday was, why is Nunes not starting? People don't want him near the club. Me personally, I think he's a very, very good player, and he's starting to get into some kind of form. O'Reilly, I will say, I'm glad he didn't start in a way, because he's getting a little bit big for his boots, doing all his little rollbacks and stuff like that. Against the Wolves, you know, it could have cost us a couple of goals. I know if my auntie had bollocks and all that, it'd be my uncle. But the thing is, Pep dragged him off after that. Now, I think that was a little kick up the arse. Now, also, if we would have started Nunes and he got injured, if we'd have started Marmouche, etc. And by the way, I don't think Marmouche has been playing well for about the past 4 games. You know, that's just my opinion. Now, it would have started
the bar yesterday.
I did as well, mate. I've had a massive hangover because of it today as well. Well, that's a different story. But what I'm saying is, we changed a winning team. Now, if we had played that winning team, started with that winning team yesterday, and we got injuries, people would have said, why is Pep not rotated when we've got a cup final next week?
But you can't go down the road of what ifs, maybes, and buts. Look, Southampton had a game plan. They executed it to perfection. We couldn't break them down. Tough, suck it up, move on. Like, what I didn't like about yesterday was that interview that Diaz gave. Like, that was shocking that a future captain of our club come out and give the interview that he did. That was absolute ridiculous. What I seen, I actually thought it was one of them AI stupid videos that they generate until I went and checked it myself. Like, you can't do that, Andy. You just can't do that.
Right. Oh, I get it, mate. Have you never said anything stupid apart from every Sunday on here?
Yeah, but I'm not getting paid to be stupid.
You're right there, mate.
I do it for free.
No, but the thing is, I know everyone started having a pop at Diaz now. Listen, it wasn't the best interview to give. Let's move on from it. You know, there's been worse interviews and stuff like that.
Look, you've got to understand as well how frustrated he is.
I'm defending Ruben. Surprise.
But it was a frustrating game. It was a frustrating game, full stop. For us, for them, you know, no matter what they did, it just wasn't going to work yesterday. And the biggest issue is it's too slow. We're not playing the ball quick enough through to Haaland to give him a chance. And until we do something about that, and why does he insist on not starting the game with wingers?
Would you start, Doku?
I probably would sometimes.
See, I again, just my opinion. Stan, my thing is Doku is an impact player rather than a starter. I don't think he plays well when he starts.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times, like, you know, the speedboat's there, but nobody's piloting. It's, you know, he is somebody that can run at teams when they're getting knackered. Diaz, pure frustration, that. Absolutely 100% pure frustration. He really, I think everybody would have said the same thing if they'd been shoved a mic up the beak. And I tell you what, after next season, this is only going to get worse with now Sky want interviews with players on the pitch and all this, that and the other. People are going to be asked tricky questions right at the moment where they almost certainly won't be thinking properly. So we're going to expect a lot of this, which is great for the clickbait rage endorsements that Sky will be feeding off, and it'll, you know, they can row about it then for the next 3 days. So we can see where this is going from. Should he have said it? No. Should he have? No, not at all. It's not for us to dig another team out for having absolutely no spine whatsoever in their own backyard. If they want to do that, that's up to them, you know. Anyway, they won't be here next year. They'll be down, so good riddance, and we won't have to see that garbage again. Straight out in the street.
Right. So what Nick's saying there, I do sort of agree. You know me, my devil's advocate, because I think doesn't matter what match, you should start with your strongest, and then if you're in a fortunate position to be winning a game comfortably, that's when you chop and change. Now, your back five as well as your goalkeeper are probably your most. You need them being as one, don't you? You know, you can chop and change certain other areas.
The only issue with that, Andy, is you're only getting to see them players 180 minutes a week if they're playing 2 matches a week. Pep has seen them in training week in, week out, day in, day out, and he gets to decide who's starting. We mightn't like it. Yesterday was nothing short of diabolical, but that's just that. You just have to accept it. There's no point in getting annoyed about it, you know. Big no.
It's like what Blue Art says there. Yeah, I totally agree, but it is anti-football. Do we want teams? if we were Southampton fans, for instance, would we really want to see our team go expansive against a team what could absolutely destroy you know, on the day? Or would you try and consider? And let's not forget, they have now freed themselves from being the worst team in Premier League history, along with Derby County. So you're not going to want that.
But there's different levels, Andy, isn't there? I mean, it was the fact that they celebrated it like they'd won a final. Yeah, the fact that they sent out a tweet more or less straight after the game, directed at Derby County, was absolutely classless. And you know, the likes of that, it's just like, you know, there's just no need for it.
Do you know a lot of people forgetting? What did Pep do? They won the last 4 or 5 matches. he packed out the midfield to stop the counter attack. Nobody's slagging Pep off for doing that, but everybody's slagging Southampton for doing what they did.
Okay. Let's go with you, Anne-Marie. Who would you have started with yesterday?
I'd have started with Núñez at right back, Nico O'Reilly at left back. You know, there's no God-given right for any player to come straight back into the team. So for Akanji to start, I didn't think was a great call either.
The front door.
Because you're disrupting what's been a pretty solid and worked well back four with Diaz and Gabardol playing together. The idea of packing out the midfield, I totally get why Pep's been doing that, and it has worked for us. The difference between us and Southampton doing that is the fact that we're offering something on the attack. They offered nothing yesterday.
Why should they roll over for us?
I'm not saying they should roll over for us, but if we've gone and if we've been going all season and watching that, we'd be a bit pissed off by now.
Well, maybe
there's a lot of them.
But Paddy, with what Anne-Marie said, maybe Southampton have got what they deserved by playing that brand of football. However, it's up to us to break them down. It's we can't go, oh, we do us a favour today, Saints. We play football, so we've got a chance.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people are getting up on their high horse. Southampton saved face and best luck to them. It wasn't so long ago we were doing that.
Mm-hmm. Stan, we've got 3 cup finals left, haven't we, mate?
Yep. In regard his selection with half of you on the FA, now, again, I think we say this most weekends, we're going into the murky mind of Pep. We don't know what's going in there. Now, as it stands, we might not qualify for the Champions League if we don't finish in the top 5. So maybe he got some minutes into Haaland's legs, and like you said, gave O'Reilly the kick up the backside, and he'll start him on Saturday. Now, if we win that cup final, we're in Europe. So, whatever it is, we're in. That then takes a bit of pressure off on the last 2 games. Because in his head, we're in Europe. At the moment, we're not in anything. I don't know. I'm just trying to think things a little bit differently. Not making any excuses. No Pap. No nothing. Just why would he make those changes? Because everything that everybody said on the panel tonight does make sense, even though some of it's contradictory.
Even me?
No. I'm talking about people on the panel. Talking about the monkeys, not the organ grinder. So
SOS has got a great point there, Anne-Marie. And at the end of the day, that starting 11 should be good enough to beat one of the worst teams in the Prem has ever seen. Anyway, move on to next week. Yeah, and something.
And that's absolutely spot on. But again, what it highlights is, Foden, I don't think had a great game yesterday.
Do you think the fact that we've got the cup final on Saturday and we've seen it in the past, some teams don't play very well when they get in the cup final because they don't want to get injured, they want to play.
We've played Crystal Palace today, did it?
Well, that's up to Palace, but they're not there every year, are they? But the thing is, what we're looking at is, have we? I don't know. You'd have to ask the players. Have we held back there? Because I don't see anyone doing any blood and thunder tackles yesterday. It was very slow. The ball just moved around. We were a lot slower than we are normal. That's a valid criticism of the team. I don't know. 1 or 2 may just thought, I'll sit this one out. And unfortunately, too many of them sat it out. We don't know, do we?
I totally agree, Stan. And even though Jack didn't even come on yesterday, I fully expect Jack to start on Saturday.
He might do. Again, we're back to Keys and what goes on in his head. He might think, right, I've seen something with Palace here. What did Palace learn watching us yesterday? Nothing. What did we learn about Palace today? We learned quite a bit. So it's all swings and roundabouts. Very fair play to Southampton.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, fortunately, and I say fortunately, Forest drew today. Chelsea got beaten there.
Yeah. By Newcastle.
Yeah, although it's put Newcastle above us, you know, it's
And do you
draw.
know who Newcastle's next game is?
It's Liverpool, isn't it?
Arsenal.
Oh, Arsenal.
Yeah, that finished 2-2.
So you can only hope for maybe an Arsenal win there.
Why?
Arsenal and Liverpool. They've already played it.
Newcastle, Arsenal.
Next
Oh,
week.
right. Yeah. Well, only
So
one of them could win. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So ideally, I know we was also like hoping we'd finish above Arsenal, and I don't think we can now, can we?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can, but we're 3 points behind them.
Oh,
like
yeah,
if Newcastle beat Arsenal and we won our game, we go level with Arsenal.
Yeah.
So it is going down to the last game of the season. Listen, how many times have we gone down to the last game of the season to win a title? And this will be just as important for the club to go into the last game, you know, knowing you need a win, you know, to secure Champions League spot. So get the cup final out of the way, and then the focus will be on them other two cup finals, as in the Premier League matches.
I mean, going into these last couple of games, we are the form team. Every other team in the top 7, really. They've all lost a game in the last 5 games. We've not lost a game. We've got the momentum.
Yeah, I just feel like there was a massive overreaction yesterday, as there normally is. And do you want to know who I actually felt sorry for yesterday? The travelling fans going all that way, you know, to see below average performance, because they always do us proud, the away fans.
Certainly do, and they did again yesterday. But unfortunately, our players didn't perform to their level.
But again, this factors in it, and I was quite vocal on X yesterday after. Have you noticed I'm starting calling it X now, not Twitter? Weird. And some of the points we've covered, you know, I did tweet yesterday because, yes, and Stan's made one of the points what I made, as in the respect of, do you really want to go full pelt, knowing that you could potentially miss an FA Cup final?
Well, do you know what, Andy? I'd have a different mindset to that. Like, if I thought one of them players didn't give their all yesterday and held back, they wouldn't be starting no cup final for me.
Okay, then. On that premise, then, Paddy, none of them 11 will start next week, then.
Right? Well, that's tough titties.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Because I can't actually say there was one player yesterday who put it in 100%. None of them.
Well, they don't deserve to start, so. Like, if you're deliberately not giving your all, you're deliberately not giving your all for fear of being sent off or fear of getting injured and missing an FA Cup final, well, you don't deserve to start. And I don't want players with that mindset in my team. That they can pick and choose when they want to turn it on and turn it off.
Oi, Teflon, answer me question. So on that premise, what you've just said, none of them players will start next week. So who would you start next week if it's none of them 11?
We don't know the insights because we don't have the stats of who is giving their all and who's not. But the statisticians, the people behind, when they wear them little stupid vests and they tell them how they're running and what they're not doing and what they are doing, they'll know.
You know those stupid vests that make sure that people aren't getting heart problems or they're taking people off in case they're overloading the system and getting injured for months and months and months. Those silly vests.
Yeah,
because that's what they are. They're there to make sure that the player's safety.
Yeah, it's so. Listen, it was a shite game. We know it's a shite game. You know, Do you want to know who else I feel sorry for yesterday? The City media team. Having to try and put extended highlights together for that match.
I saw a belter on Twitter a few years ago. It was Burnley or somebody. Was it Rotherham or somebody? It was a 0-0 game, and the fella says, welcome to Millmore, we're playing so and so. And then the next scene was, thank you for attending Millmore, and that was it. Nothing. It was like, the entire clip was about 5 seconds, and that was it, because nothing happened. And that happened, that happened yesterday. It was just balmy. But at least we'll have Doku, Savinho, O'Reilly, and Marmoush starting for Paddy next week. And there you are.
Well, look, maybe I'm not explaining myself properly, Stan, right? But if you're in the trenches with someone,
yeah,
you want to be able to depend on who's over your right shoulder and who's over your left shoulder.
Right. Well, the first thing to establish is, are we actually in the trenches, or are you in a match that I think I'd rather be relying on somebody next week, because that will be the trenches. And as people always say, if we play like this against Barcelona, we're not going to win. Failing to mention, we very rarely end up playing the same team, and we play in an entirely different way anyway. So, I mean, that bench the other day wasn't bad. You've got Nico, Nunes, Gundogan, Grealish, Ortega, Marmoush, O'Reilly, Savinho, and Doku. So there you are, Paddy. There's about 9 players that would be a decent team.
Absolutely.
So I'm with Nick here. For me, FA Cup every single day of the week.
I'd agree with that, Andy. But at the same time, as we've been saying for the last few weeks over different matters, the club is a business, and the club need Champions League qualification for the money. So
we need it as a club. As the club needs it. The fans don't necessarily. Or am I wrong? My stance. I've only ever been to one Champions League match because it doesn't bother me, and that was just when we first got in it and we played Barcelona because I wanted to see Messi play live, and he fucking cheated and got Zabba sent off, I think, or a penalty.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? As fans, we want one thing. I think most of us would rather lift the FA Cup than finish in the top 5. But as a club, we need to be in the top 5. There's no doubt about that. And I think that's what Nick was getting at, that he would rather see that rather than the club. The other, I was going to say something else then, and it'll come back to me. Don't worry. That's it. Hang on. So why is it when we said we'd rather win a cup than do well in the league, everybody's a little bit, you can't do that. But then you get the Raggington Bears down the road who are 17th, and they're in a cup final of the Papa John's Euro trophy, and suddenly their season could be all right if they win a Papa John's Euro trophy. Their season is a complete and utter disaster. The only get out for that is if they win that. They're in the Champions League.
So I know, but this is the point, Stan, isn't it? They could finish 17th in the league and get Champions League qualification. Yeah, we might finish 6th. I'm not saying we will, but we might finish 6th with an FA Cup, but not get Champions League qualification. That cannot be right on any level.
Well, it's the rules, isn't it? And they've been the rules for 10 years, and this is probably the most extreme case we've seen on it. But it's no better if Tottenham won it, because they're in 16th, aren't they, or something? And
17th, aren't they?
No,
I think I'd rather Tottenham win it.
But, okay, then. So let's ask everybody in the chat, including you. I'll let you go first, Anne-Marie. In that final, who do you want to win? Do you want Tottenham to win or Spurs?
Tottenham or Spurs? Well, I want Spurs to win.
It took you a minute then, didn't it, hey, Mother?
I go Tottenham.
But I know what you're saying, Anne-Marie. How can that be right?
I think
it's the rules. That's what everyone signs up for before the start of the season. It does. There's no rule what says, but you can only be in the cup final if you finish in a certain position in the league. It makes a mockery of it, yeah. But It is what it is, isn't it?
Just say, for example, and it's highly, highly unlikely. Say the Rags do win it, and then they qualify for the Champions League next season. Mm-hmm. And by some luck, they play all the Farmers League teams all the way through, and they get to the final and win it. That makes a mockery of the title Champions League final. Because they weren't champions. The same way as the year they won the treble, they weren't champions when they qualified for it.
So when you say Farmers League teams, you mean like what PSG get labelled and they deserve to be in the Champions League final?
Well, no, you know what I mean, Andy. I mean,
no. I think it's a valid point because Luis Enrique even had a dig at people who call it a Farmers League, and I think they probably deserve to win the Champions League this season.
Well, I think 100% agree with you. I think they do. But you know that there's a certain level of team in the Champions League, and with it being this massive league thing now, you could end up getting picked against the worst teams in the Champions League, couldn't you? That could be your route to the next round, kind of thing.
Hang on, don't let me spoil your rhythm, as it were.
No, you've done that.
Well, listen, it is what it is. So, let's go through who you would start with in the FA Cup final. Does the keeper take care of itself?
Yeah.
Or
Ortega starts then.
Hey?
Ortega starts in the cup final.
Why?
Because I think he's played in most rounds, hasn't he?
Doesn't matter. You've got to do what's best to win a match. Different keys, different locks. Remember. Why does he deserve to play in the final? Don't you? Would you prefer to play somebody who's a lesser keeper just because he's played in every round, or do you want to pick a team to win a match and a trophy?
If I can just say something here, one thing that everybody seems to have forgot, we've all complained about that back five and we shouldn't have changed it, but they still kept a clean sheet.
Facts, my son. Facts. No,
and another thing about that back five is Anne-Marie noted quite correctly. Akanji come back from injury and walk straight into the team. Husanov hasn't had a game yet,
or even been in the squad. His time will come, though, mate. I just think is that.
There's a thing, Andy, that I was thinking about the last few days. Everybody thinks that we're going to go out in the summer and sign X amount of players, and it's going to be hell for leather next season. They're all going to fit in like a jigsaw puzzle, and we're going to win the league. I don't think it's going to be that simple.
I tell you what, though, Pat, absolutely nobody's put this one together. Right? We've let Kevin De Bruyne go, haven't we? And we all thought Wirtz will be coming in, and it seems that he won't be. But have you noticed he's just been released by Bristol? And I think we can snaffle him up on the free. It's free business here. Scott Sinclair. Mark my words, mate. Yeah,
do you remember on this very show a few weeks ago when KDB it was announced KDB was going to be leaving, and all social media and everyone went in a frenzy. Oh, that means Wirtz is coming in, and I said, who's to say Wirtz wants to come to us? Doesn't mean to say because we're Manchester City that every player wants to join us, and that is exactly how it's panning out. But in that exactly how it's panning out, everybody was thinking, yeah, we'll sacrifice KDB because we'll get Florian Wirtz in. The world doesn't work that way.
Yeah, the idea is, I think Wirtz did want to come. It's his old fella that doesn't want him to come. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like he's coming, so it don't matter. He wasn't happy. So, do you think KDB played well enough yesterday to warrant another year contract?
No.
None of them did, mate. What I will say is what Gordon's saying there. Since he's come back, it's like he's trying to prove a point. He's running and chasing balls down and stuff like that. Now, listen, it seems like he's gonna. Well, Napoli seems to be a destination. What's being spoken about, but once he goes, he goes. We have to move on. But it's who will come in and do and be that player. Now, will it be Nico Gonzalez, dropping back into a number 6 and Rodri going to say a number 8-ish? Don't know, but we've got to trust what Pep's done. It's been an absolutely bang average season, but what we've seen is unbelievable. Just because what we're seeing now, and by the way, almost qualifying for Champions League as well as in an FA Cup final, we might end up with neither, but we're still in the conversation for both, aren't we? And I don't give a shiny shit what anyone says. The amount of injuries we've had, it's unprecedented this season. Other teams can go on about their injuries. Hang on. Let's have a look at ours. Yeah, and I still think we are in a very, very good position for what we've gone through this season.
Andy, I know all these boys, and I don't follow these guys on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. All these kind of in the nose, he's coming, she's coming, that's coming, they're coming. You don't seriously think Man City sat Kevin De Bruyne down in a room and says to him, at the end of the season, you're going, kid, but now we're going to start looking for your replacement. That replacement's already been identified that nobody knows about, just the way they didn't know about Mamouche and Husanov and Hayes and that other guy, I can't think his name now. So, nobody knows.
And you're right,
his
mate.
replacement has been got. You can be sure of that.
I'm not sure of it. Listen, we did everything on all the rumours and stuff about Declan Rice and stuff like that when we knew he was leaving there. We seemed to put all our eggs in one basket for Declan Rice, and we didn't really bring anyone in of that calibre. But it doesn't always have to be a world superstar. What's going to come in to do a job? Because for every KDB, you need somebody who's going to be a Rodri, and that's the way it works. A team full of superstars doesn't necessarily work. You need people to be putting, and it's that old adage, isn't it? To beat anybody, you've got to put the work in, and then your talent will see you through.
Do you not think if City wanted Declan Rice, they'd have paid the extra 5 or 6 million for him?
No. Because I actually think Pep Guardiola still wants KDB, and he's being told by Cheeky and Ferran he's not staying.
No, they wouldn't do that, Andy, and I'll tell you why, because that would backfire. Because if they upset Pep, being the emotional person that he is, he would say, ta-ta, I'm off.
Don't agree, mate.
Oh, I'm telling you now, they don't go behind Pep's back and do that. Just the way they don't sign players without Pep's permission.
Listen, we don't. Us mortals will never know the ins and outs of it. What I will say is, Pep will still have to abide by decisions what he may not like with the hierarchy, because maybe a conversation on the lines of, all right, then you can keep KDB, but don't expect A, B, C players coming in because we won't be able to budget for that.
Yeah, that's
so
fair enough.
maybe Pet's reluctantly sacrificing KDB to get somebody in who he thinks is going to be the future, if you like.
And that's why I think that target has already been identified and got.
Do you not think it was Wirtz?
Probably not. Do you know why? Because it was all over X.
You're being facetious now.
I'm not. Our club don't leak stuff. January past was a prime example of it.
So, are you going to answer me question now? Who would you start in the final?
Right. For me, Nico Riley, left back. Diaz, Guardiola, and Nunes. and Ederson would be the back five. Then you're in the midfield then. So you'll have to play Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. I would go Doku. You'd have to play Matteo. And I'd probably go Savinho and Haaland up front.
No, Mohamed.
You won't play it?
I ain't saying that stuff.
But Haaland started, so he can't play. Marmouche didn't play, and he's out.
I can see. I said it earlier on, Amory. I can see Jack starting.
Well, I think he's played pretty much most of the FA Cup games, hasn't he? Bar, I think, one he started. And I can see him starting because what I don't think Pep won't start with the two wingers. He won't start with Savinho and Doku because we haven't started a game like that in weeks. So I think there's more likely chance of him starting Jack, and whether he's in form or not, Phil, tried and trusted in the past, and see how it goes from there.
Stan, who did?
Yeah.
While we're chatting away, just have a look, and it's just dawned on me now. Who did we start with against Palace at home the other week, mate?
Took a long time. Right, give me a second. I'll look that up.
You know, Amory, that's a great point again from Nick there. You know, people complain about United's Spurs backdooring it into the Champions League. If we finish fifth, we would be doing the same. You know, something that's absolutely bang on. That
we won't be finishing fifth, so it makes no difference.
No, but if it says if we finish fifth, we will be doing the same, and we will be. It's always been top four. Would we be complaining then, Anne-Marie?
No, I suppose not. We started with against Palace, Ederson, Lewis, Diaz, Davidol, O'Reilly, Nico, Kovacic, Gundogan, De Bruyne, McAtee, and Marmouche.
I can see him playing Nico and Kovacic in that midfield.
Not a bad pairing.
Because I think, especially in the final, you need something a little bit extra. Now, whether he sacrifices the wingers more, don't know. But it won't surprise me if Phil is on the bench and he brings Jack in to play that role.
You don't think he'd go with Gundogan for experience?
Only if he can guarantee he scores in the first 11 seconds.
Well, he's not playing against you gently.
No, so it's just interesting there, you know, that lineup, what he started with. Now, if you remember, and I remember it well, everybody was slaughtering Pep for that starting lineup. And I said, Pep started that starting lineup because he believed we would beat Palace. Yeah, we went 2-0 down, but we went on to beat Palace by 5-2. So Pep was justified, really, with his starting selection, wasn't he? Because his plan worked.
Palace is a sore point for me.
Oh, yeah.
The fog stopped you, didn't it, Paddy?
When you were there for it, Paddy?
Palace cost me about fucking 1,400 quid.
Why, mate?
I would have been. I could have been an armchair fan if the scab there beside me hadn't started attending matches and broke the armchair alliance.
I tell you what, to be fair, considering you two are armchair fans, you've attended more matches than Anne-Marie this season, haven't you?
I think we're only in the chance of getting in Europe because they've started going.
Oh, Anne-Marie.
What's that? Oh. Let's move on, Andy. And
by the way, that is not LB, by the way, because we're getting people impersonating other people, trying to. I just don't get it. What, if you've got something to say, why don't you just come on and be yourself and say it? And she only has eyes for Mahrez anyway, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would go with Ederson. Left back. I would start Nico O'Reilly because I think Pep's giving him a bit of a slap down. Gvardiol, Diaz, Nunes. In the midfield, I would do a midfield central two of either Cover's definitely got to start. I think. In fact, I think Cover played all right as well yesterday. I'd start with Kovacic, maybe Nico, but he may put Gundo in there. I think he'll start with Jack, KDB. Now, will he go with Haaland or will he go with Marmoush?
He's going to go Haaland. That's a non-starter.
Or he could put Marmoush wide left.
I wish he would, but he won't.
Do you think Phil will start, Anne-Marie?
It's a tricky question, that. Do I think he deserves to start? No. But do I think he will? I think there's every possibility he will, because we need to have somebody on the right-hand side. And if we're not going to play Doku or Savino in the first half.
On the right, but it'll be Bernardo, won't it?
Well, no, because if you look, Bernardo's been sitting deeper lately. And if, as you say, that he's going to start Jack. He has to. Where else do we put him? Because you have to make the decision. Do we start Jack out on the left, or do we start Mamouche out on the left?
I'd say if we want to attack him, I'd say you've got to start Marmouche out on the left and put Jack more central. Will he start KDB? We're just assuming. And this is it. Nobody can second guess Pep, because Pep doesn't care less. Pep will pick whatever he wants to pick, not what people want him to pick. And that's exactly how it should be.
Well, he picks a team that he thinks is going to win the match. Like he's not sending out 11 players to lose or draw.
Yeah.
But I think Jack is more effective through the middle, isn't he? And I think Silva's more effective through the middle.
Yeah, but we can't have every man and his dog playing through the middle, can we?
But we have two wingers sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that Pep will not start the game with.
Or three, we want to include that Omar fella.
Interesting if we could start the dog, Bernardo's dog, John. That'd be all right.
Do you know what, Stan? You mightn't see Bernardo's dog starting again for City.
Yeah, you never know. At least he'll get around, won't he? He'll chase the ball down.
Well, I'd say Bernardo's dog's been at the Etihad more this season than Mr. Stones.
Oh, Anne-Marie.
And you.
Anne-Marie, that may be controversial, but it may well be true. Yeah, we don't have to.
She watched it on City TV.
I think whoever starts has got to have a bit of pace. You know you're going to get tracking back off Bernardo. You know you're going to get tracking back off Nunes. I think that could be key, because I tell you what, Palace are a decent team.
Oh, absolutely.
No, and the pressure's on us. The pressure's not on them. They've never won a trophy in their history. It's pretty much like. Do you want to know what it feels like to me a little bit going into the Wigan FA Cup finalists?
Well, I'll tell you what. Crystal Palace didn't fold under the pressure at Wembley, did they? They hammered Aston Villa.
Mm-hmm.
And I did say that about Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest wouldn't deal with the pressure, and they didn't.
Notts Forest, they ate that. Notts Forest. But, on paper, people will be putting City down as favourites. I don't see us as favourites. That might sound negative, because I think Palace have got a lot about them, especially up front. Because Mateta's going to be playing for them by the looks of it. They're a very pacey team.
Yeah,
and I think Pep will be on his guard with that, especially what they did to us early doors at the Etihad a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it could have been 3.
He's a big fan of that Wharton, isn't he? Oh, Pep.
Well, I think he's a decent player, isn't he?
Only got
at the minute, they're 90% sure he'll be fit for Saturday.
I tell you, I'm not sure about the Wigan, because I think we're going to treat them with a lot more respect, aren't they? Because we do know Crystal Palace are not a bad team at all, and on the day they can do damage to anybody.
And there was more to that Wigan Cup final. We found out on the Friday night that Mancini was getting sacked.
And who got him sacked? All our boyhood heroes, Joe Hart, Company. They all said Aguero. These all says they wouldn't be there next season if Mancini was there.
Listen, it's different. It just, for me, it seems like the same kind of vibe as the Wigan one, where the pressure is. If we was playing Arsenal, the Rags, Liverpool in an FA Cup final,
motion detected.
It'd be sort of like nobody would be surprised if we lost it, if you know what I mean. Whereas against Palace, I think their tail will be right up for this. They will run at us. Thank God I'm in Spain.
The more where I think Pep will pack the midfield out and stop it.
Yeah, well, I remember, Andy, there was somebody had put up, we've had a number of players who've been out injured about 2 or 3 screens ago. Was it DC? Right, here we go.
This weekend, the setup of the number of players that have missed 9 or more games this season.
Yeah, Edison, Stones, Diaz, Akanji, Ake, Rodri, De Bruyne, Grealish, Bob, Doku, and Haaland, with Foden on the bench and anyone else. It's a team that, and it's a big team to be out for the third of the season, at least.
That's what I'm saying, Stan, and that's why I alluded to it a little bit earlier, mate, when I said where we are, on the verge of, say, qualifying for Champions League as well as in an FA Cup final, considering all the woes we've had. I don't think it's a disastrous season that, considering all them factors.
Well, it's a disastrous season by the standards we have set for ourselves, but our disastrous season, we're still 3rd or 4th in the league and in an FA Cup final. That's the stuff of dreams for most teams.
It mirrors very much what's happened on the women's side as well. The injuries they've had have been horrific.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they just missed out. But doesn't matter.
Good win yesterday against Crystal Palace, funnily enough.
They're quite happy with that result in the final.
Yeah, finished 5-2.
We've seen that.
And Staffy Daves makes a good point there. We don't. tend to buy world-class stars, really. You know, you can argue with the likes of, say, Haaland, but even a Rodri wasn't world-class or anything, you know, and the examples go on there, you know, whether it's Diaz, whether it's Gvardiol, so on and so forth. It's once they come in, that's when they start. Not only do they become world-class players, they team players as well, you know. So if they're not starting, when do you ever hear one of the players come out and start moaning that they're not starting? No. They've got that team bond as well.
Do you think Haaland was world class when we bought him?
Of course, mate. His numbers. Of course, he was. You're talking bubbles, mate.
No, I'm not.
Are you that Chelsea lad in disguise? Who was it? He said that people ridiculous if you think he's going to come here and score 15 goals.
Rory Jennings, the bell end.
But I wouldn't say. What I mean by world class, Andy, you weren't buying. Yes, he had great numbers and all that crack, but you weren't buying an end product. You were buying
still not got an end product. No, are you agree?
I'll phrase it to you this way. So, how do you improve world class players? Because Pep has certainly improved Haaland.
I'd say by installing hard work in them as well as just having the flair or the world class abilities.
I was going to answer that. I was going to answer that, but Kathy's brought up a great point here. So, go back, Andy. Kathy, there.
Go back.
Everyone was excited about the January signings, bar Mamouche. None of the others haven't got much time. Yeah, there is a very good reason for that, because at the time we had all the injuries, so we had to play them. But what he's done now is he's just took them out of the limelight a little bit. They're up at Etihad learning, and they're on the training pitch there learning where they need to stand when something's happening, doing the shadow play, doing all that. And this is when it'll come through, because none of them, bar Marmouche, I don't think any of them are 20 years old. So when all the senior players came back, they weren't going to be playing. They've not done anything wrong. They filled in a hole in a particularly difficult period. And I think Khrushchev did really well. And, we will see the return of Beckenbauer. So
I'll tell you what, Stan. Come back in 2 years' time, and that Hayes and Husanoff will be world class.
These things don't take 2 days, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. You're looking at 18, 19, 20-year-old players. You're looking at like 4 or 5 year projects to get them going. There's another one, Yumba Bar. He's not been on the pitch for us yet, but he's absolutely tearing it over in France. So he's
very as well. We've got him not even anywhere near it, considering what we've seen in the international team. Stan, let me ask you a question, mate. And you brought this point up a number of weeks ago. When it comes to January, we're going to be 6 months advanced on other teams who recruit this summer, because I don't believe Pep wanted to bring all them players in January. I don't, because of the way we was now. And let's not forget, we're starting to see more players now starting to go on the bench. So I buy into exactly what you're saying, mate. It's about the education as well, because if they're up in the stands, I'll use an example. So like, you don't know if Pep's going to Beckenbauer, right? All I want you to do is watch Diaz and Gvardiol. Nobody else. Just watch what they do, because this is when you get your chance. I want you to come in, and this is exactly what I want you to do.
That's exactly what you would be saying to them. Absolutely, that is what they say to them. Any kid who wants to see what Savinho. Yeah, all right, he doesn't finish, and yes, we know Doku's a speedboat. But if they want somebody to go like that, this is what young players are told to do. Watch what that player's doing. Learn from it. Come away and then do it in your own game. And you'll adjust, and then you'll learn. And all the learning and everything's done on the training pitches. That's where your knowledge of what goes on comes. they'll have played against. They do all sorts of different scenarios. 10v9, 11v10. Things where if you've lost a man and they've lost a man, what we're going to do and how we're going to change it. If we're attacking 10 men behind the ball when they've had a player sent off, they'll practice times doing it. The problem is we don't always get enough time because we're normally right into the middle of Europe at this time of the year, and we've lost 15 days of training. But fortunately for the young ones, we haven't had that European distraction, and they'll be watching what goes on and they'll see it. They'll know when to hold the line. He's got those lines on the pitches. He only ever wants 2 people in a particular line. Now, if you're not watching what you're doing, he'll pull you over and say, right, no, you're chopping in too deep or you're not pushing out wide enough. But it'll get to the point where it's absolutely rammed into your head where you need to be. Now, when you come to the pitch, you know where you need to be because you've done nothing but have that drilled into you day after day. And that's why we are, and that's why it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, I agree there, Blue. I just think we need to lay a bit of respect on Kovacic as well as Nunes. Considering the grief what they have had this season by certain sections. I think Kovacic and Nunes have been probably our standout players for the past month to 6 weeks, Paddy.
Well, they have, but you see, us 4 on this panel couldn't pick the same team, never mind Pep. We all have different ideas about what a player can offer and what they can't offer. And that's the scenario Pep is faced with every day. He has a plan. This is going to work because he sees something in the other team that they can stand and says different keys for different locks. And then when we see the team sheet, we go, oh, Jesus, what's he playing him for? Oh, he should be starting. Where Pep has a definite plan. He said, this is the way it's going to be executed. If it doesn't go the plan, at least then he can change it. He has options off the bench. Like a couple of months ago, we didn't have options off the bench.
Exactly, mate. And that's exactly what I was saying about, the likes of us, Beckenbauer and that dropping out of the squad for educational purposes, because if you like, Pep's getting his tried and trusted starting filtering back. And with regards to what Dave's saying there, one of the reasons I want Phil to start is the kid has gone through a hell of a lot this season, and I would much rather him play his way back into form than having to come on for like 10, 15 minutes, because I don't think it'd be to the detriment of the team if carrying Phil, if you like, because let's not forget, Phil's carried us for a long period, long periods of his career, really, for us. So I think we owe him to, give him a little bit back, and I'm sure Pep is as well, where play yourself back into form, lad.
Well, look at the. I know there were personal awards that he won last year, but look at them. He didn't get them for playing bad. He's had a bit of an off season. We don't know what's going on behind the lines because people forget the players are human beings. They have family lives. They have family pressures, the same as we have. They have stress. They have arguments with our loved ones. You're going to bring that into work. Their work is on a football pitch, but we think they should be immaculate and play for 90 minutes. How many times have you gone into work and you haven't been 100% yourself?
Yeah, but they get 14 squillion quid per second, don't they? So they'll have the invisible shield of invulnerability.
Well, why do rich people have mental health problems, if that's the case?
No, you're absolutely right, mate. And Nick says Haaland isn't a world-class player. He's a great goal scorer. Still room to improve. There's room for every player. There's still room to improve. And we've got somebody who's not at the peak of his game because even Haaland, he's missed a number of games this season for us, and people think you can just walk straight back in and carry on where you left off. This thing's called match fitness. Now, years ago, you used to get reserve team football where players had come back and they'd be in the reserves, trying to build the fitness up. There's none of that now. You're expected to be coming back from an injury because training is not the same as getting match fit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree in it. There's room to improve for everyone in my book.
Jeez, look what Pep did with Aguero. And we thought Aguero was the finished article.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right, mate. So with regards to Saturday, are you optimistic, Anne-Marie?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be a walk in the park, or it's going to be a tough old match?
It's going to be a tough old match. We know that. But I think our experience will count in the end.
You know, tell us in the chat how confident you are. Let's have some score predictions. You go first, Dan.
8-0.
So who?
City.
Paddy.
3-1.
In fact, let's do it a different way. I'm going to ask for your score predictions in this order. Anne-Marie.
3-1 to City.
Paddy.
3-1 to the Mighty Blues.
Dan.
8-0 to the boys in blue.
Put his up, Anne-Marie.
I don't think I've got this.
Sorry.
Put it up,
Where's
Anne-Marie.
yours, Andy?
I don't know about. It is going to be a tough old match. It really is. I think one goal could do it. Either way, to be honest.
I see you've studied the game in some depth.
Put it this way, it won't be a 5-2.
No, it won't be an 8-0. Something like a fantasy.
Why? Was it a 7-0 against Watford in the FA Cup final?
Is it 6?
6.
Is it 6? It's not far off, is it?
No.
Hey, there's me.
I'm not a greedy man. I will settle for 6-0. But I think it'll be 8.
And do you know something? I'm not going to be at Wembley.
No.
Me either.
I'm going to be in.
You know the lady that sits next to you at the match, Andy? Was she there against Wolves?
Yes.
Did you tell her that I was in the stadium?
Why do you want me to get a phone number for you?
No. You could sit there then in perfect happiness, knowing that we were going to win.
I did say you was up.
Up in the gods. Well, I tell you what, we weren't up in the gods. Me and Paddy ventured into the world of Fraggle Rock. Unbelievable.
So that was rough.
There was a few bells and whistles in there, mate, I can tell you.
Nearly came to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
By the way, I agree with DC here. I think Phil needs a rest. Mental as well as physical.
100%.
Once the season's over, I would carry on playing him now, till the end of the season. What last 3 games, and I go, Phil, just go and take a full summer off, and I'll see you back in pre-season training.
They get fined, and they have to bring their players to that stupid thing. What do you call it? The Club World Cup.
But Phil might be injured.
Yeah, that's one way around it.
It's going to be interesting. What do you think, Stan? What do you think we'll do with regards to KDB for that? Because he runs out of contract, doesn't he, mid tournament?
Well, I don't. If he's out and he's not coming back next year, we shouldn't be taking him, because we should be getting somebody with some to give somebody some experience in his position. Let's have a look at Nico Riley playing there. If we don't win it, we don't win it. But we're going to be playing quality teams. And give people a chance. You want people who will be playing for us next year to benefit from it. No, if he's going. That's it. The decision's been made. Whether you agree with it or not, you can argue all day. You can argue what we talk about that all day.
Yeah, and he's right. You have to grasp the nettle and let go.
I'd love him to play, and it'd be great. But once the plaster's off, put it in the bin. let's move on. I'd rather
Which bin
keep
do
on
you put
playing.
it, which bin do you put it in? Do you put it in the general rubbish bin? Would you put it in the plastics bin? Or
No,
would
I
you put it in?
I put it in the bin. I put it in the bin next to the statue he's going to get, provided he doesn't sign for the Premier League team, and in which case I put the statue in the bin as well and burn the lot.
He won't sign. He won't sign for another Premier League team, mate.
No, but we've got to wait. How about putting Phil in there to have a look? What about we were talking about him, Berry? We've signed him. He plays in that position. Put him in there. There's all sorts of. You could put Jack Grealish in there just to have a little look. Because when he did play in the middle, I was with you that game. Which game was it? He had a good game in the middle.
That
was the Forest game.
By all accounts.
Yeah, it was. It was the Forest game. He did really well there. There's 4 or 5 options moving forward that we can put in it. How about having a look at one of those kids? Charlie Gray, I don't know if he plays there, but he's another one that's coming off the production line. Let's start having a little look at these lads and see what happens. We could end up saving ourselves.
Go on, Anne-Marie, I'll let you read Blue Arts out there. And I think
it's not his fault, but Erling is part of the issue why teams fear our football. Let's remember these tactics against us are because we dominate possession so much. This is their only answer in truth. That's very true.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is. Adam's going 2-0 City. So Staffy Dave. Gordon's going 3-2. Bellamo 1-0. Eze own goal. Nick 3-1. Yeah. And it says Phil needs help with his mental health issues. Forget Club World Cup and see you enjoy. Exactly, mate. That's it's got to be the how if City got fined for not taking Phil Foden, sure, who in the right mind would if City went to the powers that be, FIFA, and go, listen, the lad is suffering, whether it's fatigue, mental health, we are not taking him. 2 things should happen. FIFA would go, his mental health's more important than football. Or City would go, find me as much as you want, but we're not taking him because we want to look after our lad. There's bigger things than players having to attend because it's part of the rules.
I think as well, I think it's only a percentage of our normal first team have to be there.
But one more. Something. We should be looking after Phil because we still forget he's only young. It's because he's well decorated with medals and stuff like that. Everyone thinks that he's a veteran. He's not. He's still a young kid.
Yeah, but he's been there
7
years.
I don't think we can still keep calling him a young kid. He's he now? 24, 25?
Fucking hell, yeah. He's ready for the retirement, isn't he?
No, I'm not saying that, Andy, but it's not like he's 20 or, he's got experience. He's got...
And me, mate.
He's got experience. He's been in a winning team. He knows what it takes, and there's obviously there's issues, whatever's going on that we don't know about, and
the off-field stuff is horrendous.
I've just seen a comment there what sums the situation up perfectly well. Spot on, DC. They do. And what I will say, Anne-Marie, is I get what you're saying. However, all players, no matter who they are, they hit that brick wall sometimes. When they hit the brick wall, Phil's hit that this season, so do people think he's just going to disappear and never be the same player? No, not at all. And that's why it's so important that the club take care of him. You know, he takes care of himself, and he will regain what we know what Phil Foden can do, because every player goes through it, and none of us know what is going on in his personal life and stuff like that. We only hear rumours and stuff like that. He's still in human terms, he's still a kid, 24. So he'll still be learning about life, not just about on a football pitch. It's the life side what he's going through. If it's just something down to football, you'd get your teammates pulling you through. If it's something down to your mental health or something personal and stuff like that, it's totally different. That's not football. That's a human being going through.
The worst thing that happened to Phil was last season winning Player of the Year and whatever, yeah, and then going to the Euros and getting absolutely slated for basically what they said was he wasn't performing for England like he did for us. And at the end of the day, he never once got played in his natural position for England, and that destroyed him.
And it's unfair. And I wasn't having a pop at the for the first time in a long time, Nick. I wasn't having a pop at the club. You know, I always am. Yeah, I'm sure they are, because we know Pep does a lot. We know he's done a lot with Jack as well, because, you know, even Pep and Jack came out and said, you know, Jack was suffering with sort of like with mental health issues and stuff like that, and Pep has been there for him, and I'm sure Pep will be there for every single one of the players. It's just the outside sort of like footballing rivals and stuff like that. What I just think Phil Foden's shit. No, it's not. Like Anne-Marie said, you know, he gets put in the England team playing out of position, and everyone's going, "Oh, he's not all that. He's just a positional player." You know, for City, he's not really a good player. It's disrespectful for him.
To be fair, though, it'd be difficult for anyone to shine when they have to play with that bell with Bellingham.
Well, I know, and that's one of the issues, because it was all about everything revolved around Bellingham, and you know it wasn't fair on Phil at all, because you don't suddenly go from being the best player in the Premier League that season to being the worst player going in an international competition.
No, and you want your players to do well, and you want your players to do well at international level, and they always want to turn out for the country and all that. But I think your average fan now, I don't think many City fans give a monkey what England are doing or any other international team.
Stan, what I will say about that is this is my old thought on in international football. Before City got good, if you like, I used to slaughter fans like United fans who didn't give a shit about, you know, international football and stuff like that, because they wanted their players fit and healthy. And I just used to think, you selfish bastards. Now I'm like that now. I couldn't give a shiny shit, because it's all about money. Now you've got all these, well, like these Nations Cups, as well as, you know, European qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, and it's just and we all love football, but I think there's too much football.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, never been like that. I've never really bothered with the England team or like that. Everyone's a bit different, aren't they?
Yeah, do you think there's too much football, Paddy?
Well, I think the England team should stop stealing our players for a start. Play your own fucking players. You're not got enough of them, no. You're coming over and robbing ours.
Hang on a minute. During the Jack Charlton era for you, mate, people used to Green, and he was like, "Oh, he's got the look of the Irish. You know, he's got to play for us. You know, look at the players what you did take."
Yeah, the ones in England wouldn't play.
Did you ever get explained why Tony Castorino played for Ireland?
His great-great-great-great-grandmother.
His real name was Antonio Castorino.
No. Do you want to know why it was, Anne-Marie?
Why?
He was caught once drinking a pint of Guinness. So went, must be Irish.
Yeah. No doubt you'll be claiming Nico O'Reilly next.
Nico O'Reilly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can he claim him?
Straight on the Moss side, he was not.
Well, where was he born, Paddy?
Well, it doesn't matter where he was born. It's what's coursing through his veins.
Go on, Anne-Marie. Go on, Anne-Marie. Give it him.
See that red stuff blowing through your brains, Anne-Marie? That's called Celtic blood.
I've got plenty of Celtic blood in me, but I wouldn't kind of,
You're a pure breed, and so is Stan. But see that baldy fella? He's not. He doesn't know where he's half Viking and half Norway. He doesn't know where he's from.
Yeah,
Is that why you have to wear a helmet?
John Barnes.
He wears a helmet because he doesn't know he's gone bald.
Stan. John Barnes was born in Jamaica. I was on Red Stripe last night. I could play for Jamaica now.
Oh, they're not fussy, Bella Hoodie still.
So bitter. You're so bitter, Patrick. Father, you're so bitter. What are you up to rest of the week, gang? Anything good?
Oh, working.
Working.
Oh, I can tell you're all looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
Back into the Matrix.
What are you up to, Stan?
Don't know.
Are you awake?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know.
I've got some really good news for you all.
You're not on the.
Me and Stan are at the Bournemouth match.
I'm not on next week.
Thank
I'll be
God.
in Spain. I'll be in Spain. Oh, do you want an appearance off me?
No, thank you.
No. No.
I can come on.
No, you're all right.
No, you're all right.
Don't feel the need. We'll manage away without you.
Oh, I tell you what as well. If my wife knows what I've done, I've actually changed my flights. I should have landed in Manchester on the Tuesday, the last KDB home match, and it cost me £380. In case she does watch, £380 to change my flights to get an early afternoon flight back. I don't want to miss KDB's last match.
And me and Stan won't be missing the other.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there supporting whoever phases the most.
So anyway, we'll call it a. Oh, Terry Butcher, South Africa. Anne-Marie, DC wants to know how your dad is, Chuck.
He's good, thanks, DC. He's all being well. He's going to be at the Bournemouth game for his last game to say goodbye to Kevin. He's quite upset about Kevin going, but he'll get over it.
Another good one that England stole.
Ooh.
Anne-Marie's
dad.
I know, but Paddy, wait till you meet him. He's been here since 1959, and his accent's still as strong.
It doesn't see that stuff's coursing through his veins. That's what counts. He can be there from 1930.
Yeah, well, he's been here more of his life than he was in Ireland. So
is it only me who's just clocked what you've just said, Anne-Marie? Wait while you meet him. Do we all need to get a hat for an occasion?
No, but I'm sure I'll see Paddy and Stan before the Bournemouth game, and Dad will be with me.
You sure?
Yeah, 100% positive. Thank you, Andy. And thank you for banning our mate.
Who?
Well, whoever banned LB.
Oh, yeah, well, we look after each other, don't we?
Yeah.
There's a read through here. Staffy Dave, good to be back. Enjoyed the stream. Thanks, guys. Hey, honestly, mate, we just talk shit, but you know something? We if we can make one person smile. One people's, and I've had a mad hangover today, mate.
You see that every week.
I know. That explains why we got the link at 10 to 7.
Yeah. You probably haven't eaten today either, have you? he's as sick as a small hospital.
Just trying to get some sugar inside me and try and be all right. Yeah, listen, guys, thanks for joining us. Good to see you all. And Blue Hat, if you come on the show after a few beers, can you get a translator? I might make an appearance.
Blue Hat, trust me. If I see him pop up at the bottom of this screen,
what?
Week,
What?
He won't be coming on. I promise you.
I won't be popping up anywhere, Anne-Marie. You wish.
Bigger list than Chris Eubank. Bigger bit of batza.
I don't know what. I must talk with a lisp when I'm pissed, you know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, point
you do.
1, point 2. Jesus Christ Almighty.
With the amount of things you come out with, it's the only way we know.
Right. Anne-Marie, have a wonderful week. I will set the stream up for you before I go on my boss. Patrick, I shall see you.
My mother calls me that. She's dead.
It's Sunday, Patrick.
I know.
Stanley. Always a pleasure, never a chore, my friend.
Yeah, no worries, man. You look after yourself.
The most important people of this show is our gang in the chat, because we love it, don't we? We love all the banter and the interaction.
Yes,
listen,
indeed, we do.
Have a great week, all, whatever you do. And listen, as they say on Hill Street Blues, be careful out there. I may see you next week, but if not,
no, you won't.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
No.
Have a great week, all.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye.